This is what you want to say. J. Cole, legal business, man. Bang, bang, boom.
I mean say this a protege, eh? Homegrown with G Cole, what you say, eh? We make them know what reggae music we a play, eh? Hey, this is Protege, the one and only representing for G Cole, you know. Check it. He's out.
And we said them not got no style like we. G Cole, them not got no style like we. None of them no wicked, no wild like we. Accurate. Kabaka Pyramid representing for the number one selector and radio host. It's all about G Cole. Keep it locked. Accurate.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Kalia. I'm hanging out with your boy G Cole on the Homegrown Show.
Yes. Welcome one and all. It is the Midday Link Up, Homegrown with G Cole, right here on Jamaicans.com. Got to big up everybody listening in and watching from near and far, all right? Got to lodge up everybody on homegrownwithgcole.com also, and on the Homegrown with G Cole Facebook page. If you haven't yet subscribed, please go and do so, all right? As we always do around this time, we got to lodge up, we got to big up, we got to honor, we got to yield up, we got to send some maximum love and respect to all my people on the front lines, all my Ascension people, all those people out there doing it well. Doing it for us. All right? Nurses, doctors, all the healthcare professionals. All right? All my first responders, all my paramedics. All right? Big up the radiology techs, them big on up all the time. You know what I mean? Got to lodge up, of course, firefighters. We have some issues. So the firefighters, the good law enforcement professionals, all right? The whack ones, fire phone, all right? Everybody, man, that just goes beyond the call of duty, goes outside the realm of what's asked of them to make sure that people are doing it well, staying alive, surviving, all right? And again, the mail carriers, big up on yourself, all right? All the courier services, delivering them packages, big up on yourself. All the truck drivers, I was talking to a truck driver today. I know it's tough, it's rough out there in these streets. Big up the truck drivers. Without y'all, this thing stops. Stand still, all right? Stand still. Lodge up on yourself. Every time. All right? Big up about the lifeguards, too, who are out there dealing with the nutbags that see the sign that says they shouldn't go over there and they still go. Not you. All the nutbags that go out there and the sign says, don't go over there. You know what I mean? The current is very strong, wake very strong because of these boats and whatever the case may be. You say, nah, I'm going to go over there anyway. Sploof. Oh, man, John, help. A lifeguard will come out and come save you. Big up the lifeguards. Personally, I'll probably punch you in the throat and drag you in and say that was my procedure to get you in. You know what I mean? But that's just me. Sounds a little violent, but you know what I mean? So it can go. Montclair, how you doing? Blessings, fam. Blessings. It is Tuesday, man. All kinds of stuff going on. And the Angry Women Coalition, they're out in full effect. The AWC, you know what I mean? We put the topic up and so forth, and I'm already at start. Hell no. You know what I mean? What's up with this and that? A lot of them, you can't trust themselves, you know? But them not trust nobody, and I'm just saying. So you go. Duppy not like duppy, teeth not like teeth. That's what I'm saying. What would you say? Teeth never love visit teeth with long bag. Yep. Let it go. Let it sink in. Hey, Sylvia, how you doing? Gene, how's it going? So wonderful to see you all, man. I hope y'all are staying in touch, staying in contact with the family. You know, and when I say family, you know, family is not what biology gives you, is what the Almighty give you. You know what I'm saying? There are some people that you got to leave behind, but there are some folks that you got to just make sure you're there for, all right? Got to send your condolences, of course, to my fam, also dealing with a loss right about now, and now my thoughts and prayers are with you. You know I'm here for you. You know what I mean? Lost my favorite auntie, man. You know, so it's trying times and crying times, but we're gonna make it happen. That's what it's about. That's all you can do. All right, London's in the building. Rep, where you from? Hawaii's here. California is here. All right, Miami-Dade is here. Broward County's here. I see Palm Beach in the building also. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all big time. All right, make sure you're out there doing great things. Just every now and then, let's just step outside of ourselves. Let's just go above and beyond the call of duty, right? Let's do some extra stuff. Let's love on some extra people, right? Let's give some more than we normally do. And for those who don't ever give nothing, give something today. Didi McKay, what's going on? Big up East London in the building. Large out the massive and crew over there at the Den in East London. That's always tuning in, locked in. I appreciate y'all big time. Sylvia, how's it going? So here's the deal. So we'll put the topic here. After the trust has been broken, can we trust again? You know what I mean? Old girl and dug in her bag and already mad at old Booski. You know what I mean? At the old Booski. You know, even though we answer the phone calls at 2 in the morning too. You know, the booty calls at 2 in the morning, but we mad. Oh, the trust is broken. That's not what I'm talking about. Here's the thing. There's some crazy things going on right now here in the continental U.S., across the globe too, but this is the epicenter of the craziness, right? So that trust that I'm talking about is between the community and law enforcement. All right? If you pay attention to what's going on, it's evident the trust has been broken. It's been broken for a hot minute, but right now it's open season, and the rug's been lifted up. We've been seeing a lot of things, right? We just had the Derek Chauvin trial, and he got found guilty, which some people don't even want to say it's a win, because at the end of the day, it's the sentencing that is a win. Sometimes people do things for protocol, slap on the wrist, and later on, you know, we find a way to let him out. You know what I'm saying? Tony Thomas Lodge himself, New Orleans, Louisiana, in the building. You know what I mean? Big up the massive and crowd in the bayou, having a good time. You know what I mean? Getting the grub and the brewski flowing. You know what I'm saying? But it's times right now where we feel like everything that goes on today is going to be majorly impactful on our tomorrow, right? The outcome of that situation dictated so much. And by that, I mean, if you have that kind of evidence on tape and you can't get a conviction, then there would be when I say no, I mean absolutely no way to get a conviction for anything else. We don't even want to dwell upon that. We're talking about the trust. Now, here's why the question of the trust comes up. Word is, and as you pay attention to what's going on out there and just have conversations amongst ourselves and sometimes amongst people that are not of our culture, the topic comes up, is there a rebellion by the folks in blue? You know what I mean? There have been posts on social media from, and of course, I don't ever play back the posts. I don't ever repost. I don't show the video clippings here because I'm not in the business of corroborating those things and then having the arguments and the conversations later on as to whether or not they are legitimate or not. So I'll just speak on my conversations, right? But there's conversations going on out there sometimes where people say, thank you so much, Clementine Lodge, myself, IMR. We got this thing. We need, again, we got to have that convoy, right? I know I've been traveling, so it's lagging on my end, but I'm going to make sure that happens. Margaret Wagwan, always good to see you all. Always, always, always. But the conversation is going on. It's like, you know, a lot of law enforcement people, we've had reports of people in the NYPD in particular, other police departments across the country, but, you know, the NYPD was put on blast because theirs was posted on social media. Some folks were saying it wasn't a cop. So other people were saying, yes, it is. But people posting that, you know what, when stuff comes up, what up, Hope? Instead of, you know, answering the call and going to the community to help and serve and protect, just let it burn. That was pretty much the verbiage, you know, let it burn, let them kill themselves, let them do whatever, since they wanna, you know what I mean, rise up, since they wanna have a voice and an opinion against us, the boys in blue, right? So you have a lot of police people who are saying, you know, you're complaining about our actions, but when you have a need, you call us. Oh, you mean? That's what you're there for. Nobody's calling you for free either. It's the job. You get paid for it and you get paid well, right? And truth be told, no matter what the circumstance is, you took the oath to serve and protect the community. No different from the doctors that take the oath, right? You take that oath. You had an option. You could have go work at Chili's, not you. You could have go work done, you know what I mean? You could have, as a killer say, you could have go take up a security post, right? But nah, you took the oath, the pledge. So do what you took the oath to do. It's amazing when folks get away with all kind of atrocities from day one onward. What happens pretty much is anytime you hold your feet to the fire, then all of a sudden it's a problem. All of a sudden it's a problem. Whenever you hold those people that you've given responsibilities responsible, then all of a sudden you got a problem. Right? Call upon the union. The union's there to protect them so they can act the fool, run amok. Hold them to the fire. We got a problem. There was a fire chief, and I'm going to say volunteer fire chief. Let me specify that. Not on the payroll to some degree, but you are the fire chief, volunteer or not. You are responsible for people's safety in and around that area, right? The fire chief, volunteer fire chief, posted on social media that law enforcement should refuse to respond to certain neighborhoods and to certain people when they call in for help. Let it burn and see how much. Now, this is the fire chief, right? So that says to me pretty much, if my house is burning, if something's going on over here, if I have an accident, if I need help and we need the fire department or whatever the case may be, and fire chief is involved over there, then I'm on my own. Because for him to say that, now he's not even law enforcement, he's a fire chief, right? Now, he's the fire chief, volunteer fire chief, but a fire chief nonetheless. And if he's going to say that, then imagine if your safety is really on the line. Can you trust that that fire chief would have your best interests at heart? All the law enforcement people, and I'm going to stop using the word law enforcement professionals because it's a broad brush. Just like how they don't want us to broad brush them and say they're the villainous law enforcement people out there. But now I got broad brush them and call them law enforcement professionals either, because we've seen a lot less than that, right? So again, the trust has been broken. As you speak to members of the community, the trust has been broken. And if the conversation ever comes up, then it becomes apolitical, right? It becomes a political conversation. Because here's the deal. It's not just about the offender and the person committing the infraction, right? It's about the team that's around them holding them accountable. So I've lost trust in Officer A because Officer A has exhibited some terrible, terrible tendencies and traits, right? Officer B says, well, that's just an isolated incident to an isolated officer, Officer A, right? But then if you ask Officer B, so what do you think about that and how it relates to us out here? You know what Officer B said? I don't know anything about that. He's a great guy. I've never seen that before. As a matter of fact, I'd have to see the footage. I've been out here with him for 20 years, right? All the 75 accusations are false as far as I'm concerned. Everybody in here is a saint. That's what they all say, right? I dare you. You hear of people coming out on social media. You hear some people coming out. I don't even know if they're really law enforcement. But you pull up to any police officer. You pull up to any municipality, any PD, any one of them, any precinct. And you ask any police officer, what do they think? They will never, ever verbalize that they think that there's an issue, systematic or not. Never. Right? So the question is, once the trust has been broken, because it is broken, right? Can we ever trust again? Now, we're not going to have a choice, but deep down, can you? You know what I'm saying? It's no different from, oh, girl, your man violated the trust. But he a billionaire, you know what I mean? You might have to just roll with it. It doesn't mean that the trust has been regained, but you're rolling because you're not walking away from the thing, or vice versa from a gender specific. You know what I mean? It's no different. In a case like this, we can't shut down the PD them, right? We cannot do it, right? But we don't necessarily have to trust you. And here's the thing. People love to put themselves in a vacuum and in a bubble. Here's the funny thing about it. When you talk to your own colleagues and friends and family and people you know, other civilians, the answers you get a lot of time is really based on where they are. And it doesn't change until things get close to home. There are folks that I know that based on where they live, they don't have certain encounters. And whenever I have the questions with them, they're very optimistic. And they you know, they give a lot of benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? Until it starts creeping closer and closer to their neighborhoods. We love to put ourselves in a vacuum. We love to put ourselves in a bubble. And what that bubble says pretty much is, where I am, it ain't happening, so I don't have to respond to certain things a certain way, right? It was no different when, you know, you had riots and all kind of things and these kids going out there and standing up and, you know, doing what they've got to do. A lot of people didn't necessarily lend that support because in their little vacuum that they've created, in their little bubble, it's TV, right? So they have the They have the benefit. They have that unfortunate excuse, right? It's not, this is what we need to think about it this way. We need to see it both sides. We need to do this, that until it's your kid that's on the slab, right? So people see things how they want to see it. No, I do a lot of traveling, more traveling now than I'd like to. So here's the thing. I can't be in a bubble. I can't be in a vacuum, because even though it may not happen or may not be happening, at least we don't see the tape yet, because you don't know the thing set up. The tape's always there. Even though we don't see it happening in my backyard or on my front porch, I could get off a plane and it happened. I was in Virginia the other day and I got pulled over. I was in Wisconsin the other day. I got pulled over also. And it wasn't a big deal to me because I don't worry about certain things a certain way. I guess it's me hoping for the best, and thinking of who I am. Hopefully I won't have those kind of issues. And thus far I have not. But my family were crazy worried, scared, and so forth when they found that out. I remember because I was actually on the phone with my wife when I got pulled over on one of the occasions. I'm like, all right, let me call you back. I'm getting pulled over. And she was adamant, no, let me stay on the phone, And I was like, nah, probably silly of me. I was like, nah, because half of it, I didn't want her there panicking. But at the end of the day, me getting her off the phone is probably worse, because then she's panicking for real because she's not up on what's going on. But being out here traveling and doing whatever, I am also vulnerable. I'm exposed. I'm susceptible to anything out here when the crazies decide to do. And it worries my friends. It worries my family. And it worries my colleagues. So for those reasons and others, I don't have the luxury of turning a blind eye and acting like because it doesn't happen in my neighborhood that it can't happen, right? And a lot of times, it don't mean anything's better in your neighborhood. If you have family members and friends that are in law enforcement, you sit down and try to have the conversation with them. I am yet to hear somebody to straight up honestly call it for what it is. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I think nobody wants to sully the name of their institution. Because at the end of the day, if somebody says, yeah, it's a lot of crazy stuff going on, it's terrible over here, they don't know if you're expecting their next line to be, as a result, I'm leaving, or so forth. And people need to call out certain things. It's a job and people are there for the paycheck. And a lot of people are there almost at retirement. I've tried to have conversation with a couple of people and they didn't. And, as I went deeper and deeper into our personal conversation, I realized that they're close to cashing in. So they don't want to really get involved in that. You know what I mean? And while they're great people to me, that says to me pretty much that, yeah, you're probably not one of them who have the interest of the community at you know what I mean, at heart. That's not what you're there for. You're there for your thing. You ain't trying to jeopardize it right now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling anybody to go jeopardize their income and whatnot. But there is something you can do. There's got to be something you can do. So I know I said I'm going to do it, and I kind of put it off, but I think I'm getting closer and closer to wanting to have that conversation on the platform with a member of law enforcement. Another reason why kind of prolonged it is I don't necessarily want to have the conversation in the middle of a whole bunch of turmoil going on in the streets, because one, they're going to be a lot less receptive to certain questions. They're going to be a lot less receptive to come on, and they're also going to be a little defensive. It's no different from in your private life. I always say, if you really want to have a conversation with your significant other, with your child, with your friend, with your family, don't have it in the middle of an argument, because whatever you bring up in that argument is nothing but a part of the argument. You know what I mean? So if there's something that you really want to deal with, you don't bring that up during the argument, during the fuss, during the fight. You deal with that during the good times. All right? Honey, everything's great today. Listen, there's something I need to talk to you about tonight. And you sit down there and talk to it. You know what I mean? But if a Palm Beach you come from, it turn us up anyway. You know what I mean? Big up on yourself. But it's one of them things where you're trying to wait for the dust to somewhat settle, the proverbial dust to settle so that we can kind of have that conversation in not a great atmosphere, because the atmosphere is what it is, but in a less tense mode. But it's hard to get to that place because when you think the dust is settling, something else happening. It's like you can't even look too tough. We have situations right now where a man got shot he was in his driveway, regardless of what he was doing. If somebody's in their driveway, backed up in their driveway, him alone, not harming, there's no way he's got to get shot and killed or battling for life. No way. Right? And they start shooting, he drives off, hit him in the back of the head, whatever the case may be. But of course, you have the excuse that this is what his record is, and he was driving away and all kinds of stuff. Why is it always end that way for people in our communities? People in other communities can show up with tanks and an arsenal of assault weapons and whatever the case may be, and still end up going to jail unharmed with a sandwich. But it doesn't happen in our community. The trust is broken. The question is, can we ever trust again? And like Julian says, exactly. If you're waiting for the dust to settle in this climate, you will never have that conversation. Because here's the deal. I've heard here's what you get nowadays. Everybody has a political agenda. So if you can get law enforcement on here, it's the campaign for the next job. I want to be sheriff. I want to be this. I've had a couple of situations where people, recommended, hey, bring this person on for whatever the case may be. But you hear me, man? I don't run a political platform. So if you think you're going to come here and sit down and talk about all the cats you've taken out of trees, right? And talk about how good your situation is and why we should vote for you for the next in Nagaham. We're going to have a real one. So for that reason, we're waiting for the person who we can have that conversation with. And I've even had people say to me, I got somebody that I talk to all the time. How come you find it difficult to talk to them about stuff? And when I listen to the conversations you have with them, I realize that's the reason why you talk to them all the time, because you're not talking to them about what you're supposed to talk to them about. You're having a buddy-buddy convo. And don't get me wrong, I will never have a hostile situation or environment for anybody. It'll never be hostile. And it will be super, super respectful. It always is. But if we're addressing some things, we're addressing some things, right? If we're addressing some things, we're addressing some things. And that's what it's going to be about. And that will never change. Now, again, like Julian says, if we're waiting for the dust to settle, the conversation will never be had. But, I mean, is it open season, though? Are the men in blue, men and women in blue rebelling? Are they at the point right now where they're just like, you know what, we coming to get y'all? That's one. And are we having situations where there'll be, you can't feel protected out there because they have an agenda themselves, and the agenda is to show a certain community that you need us? You know what I'm saying? Is that what's going on right about now? Leroy Wagwan, blessings, blessings, blessings. Leroy says this helps the convo to a deeper level and unearth some truth, real wisdom to talk when dust is settled in the calm after the storm. Here's the deal, bruh. Like we're looking at right about now, Leroy, you tell me, when the dust gonna settle? When is it ever? Because here's the thing, the wind has always been blowing the dust around. The unfortunate thing is we've been rolling around in the dust off lately with cameras on. So everything's being shown. So we're at the point where we can say, dang, this dust will never settle. Here's another thing too. This is a question I want to know. Are body cams to protect everybody, or is the body cam to create innocence for the officer? If you have a camera system set up in your house and it is not maintained by the security company or the alarm company, whichever you want to call it, it's really not admissible, the footage that is in court, right? You can look on it and know who broke in their house and go beat them up if you want to. You can. You sure can, right? But a lot of that stuff's not admissible in court, right? The reason why it's not, again, unless it's being held by the alarm company or the security company. But if it's just your little system where you go buy a Home Depot or a Lowe's or whatever the case may be and you're recording, attorneys will have that thrown out because the footage it's editable footage. You can edit it, right? So a lot of times that stuff won't hold up. So for that reason, you have entities that maintain the recordings so you don't have the option of editing it, so that if you need to go to court, if something needs to happen, you could always say, hey, there's footage from the security company, and then you can have that subpoenaed, right? And that's created by our judicial system, those reasonings. I would have liked to think that that was the same reasoning that brought about the body cam, right? So if there's a body cam that's supposed to be rolling in real time, the footage from that is supposed to be admissible, right? If your family needs to see that, if something happened, whatever the case may be. Why is it that law enforcement works so hard, and a lot of times they do get away with it, with the footage from the body cams being suppressed? And not just that, sometimes edited too. Because if I ask you for footage on the day that something happens and you manage to find a way to not deliver that footage for 2 weeks, I'd be remiss to think that the footage is just sitting there waiting on paperwork to clear. Right? Fishy, mackerel, salmon, not you. Right? Tuna. Right? Something's happening. Things getting redacted, things getting edited, all kinds of stuff. Next thing you know, you hear, say, boy, the footage disappeared, it lost, whatever the case may be. So if that kind of stuff is going on, what's the purpose of the body? You know when body cam footages are accessible and open to the general public the morning after, whenever the person on the end is definitely at fault and there's no getting around it. Oh, that body cam footage makes its way out. Not true. YouTube. You know what I mean? That must be on HBO Max. Not true. The body cam footage is out in full effect. If the perpetrator, right, the civilian, is fully and unequivocally at fault, unquestionably at fault, that body cam footage did it from yesterday, it come like an album. The youth them have it early, right? You can pre-order the thing by iTunes, right? If the civilian is undoubtedly guilty. But if there's any questions, a shadow of doubt, something that would implicate the officer, then all of a sudden, the body cam has issues, and there's all kind of legal, ways and reasons why they can hold on, restrict, and oftentimes even disallow that footage to be shown in courts. So again, we go back to the topic at hand. After the trust has been broken, can we trust again? Somebody said to me once, don't look at it a certain way, because in the police department, there are different ethnicities and so forth in the police department, right? Yep. That is so true. There's different ethnicities in the NBA and the NFL too. But the NBA is predominantly a minority sport, right? Just like how, even though we got people of ethnicity in the police departments, majority are not, right? And to be perfectly honest with you, we've seen, and it is evident right now, and I've seen it with my own eyes and ears, that those folks are not going to stand up. And at the end of the day, if there's somebody watching right about now, and your daddy's a cop and your mama's a cop, and again, all respect due, because I know police officers, and they're good human beings. To me, personally. God, they know me, right? It's a situation where, again, not judging anyone, but people always personalize it. Well, they're human beings. And do you know any? Yes, I know. Are they nice? Yes, they are. But even serial killers are nice to somebody. Right? Jeffrey Dahmer ate his peoples. Ate some other people, right? Right? Them serial killers ain't out here making soup out of their children. They're not filleting their family members. They going for yours. So the fact that everybody's a human and at home and being nice and a neighbor and this and that don't mean that when they suit up and drive out, that they don't change. Remember, put that on, you Superman now. And folks want to be, no, okay, I'll take it right about them. I'm not telling no lie. Thank you so much for the calls. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for all the messages too. Julian says the agenda is to show certain communities that everybody's not equal. No matter what you want to think, or how you may want to interpret the Constitution, or how much money you have, or how much status you have. At the end of the day, We can talk about the status. We can talk about the law. We can talk about the Constitution. We can talk about everything, right? At the end of the day, what you should be talking about is who wrote it, right? Again, remember, until the lion starts writing the story, the hunter gets the glory, right? So if it's one set of people that creates the laws, it control, for lack of a better word, the justice system and the judicial systems and so forth, it's going to work in that way, right? Evidence with alcohol, right? Taxable thing, high revenue thing, kills more people than anything else out there, right? Alcohol kills more people than crack, right? If you want to be honest with you, alcohol kills more people than heroin. But still good, right? Lot of revenue coming in. So they ain't messing with that. Guns kill more people than whatever. And people say, well, guns don't kill people. People do. So it go. But yet still, that's out there, all legal and everything. Not true. It's just now we're getting to a situation where marijuana is even being considered to be legal because you know why? There's a time when it couldn't be regulated for a couple of reasons. One, the best stuff wasn't from here. You know, they hadn't figured out how they were going to tax stuff, how they were going to do this, how they're going to make revenue off of it. So at the end of the day, things are created and laws are created to benefit certain people. Crack cocaine. Do the research on it. Why are the penalties for possession of crack cocaine way more steep than those of powder cocaine? Because it was geared toward a certain community. Certain minority communities, they couldn't afford pure powdered cocaine. Can't believe we're having drug convo. But they could do crack. Right? So that's how you can put that war on drug and target a certain amount of people and be like, yo, we going after crack. Right? Right? If you don't want people eat dumpling, you know ban flour star? But you're selling flour and tell people say if they eat dumpling, you're going to kill it. You're going to lock them up. It's the same thing. And yes, having either of them is illegal. But one bears more weight in the justice system than the other. Why? Because at the time, that was drug of choice. And when I say drug of choice, I mean drug of choice. Financial choice for a certain community, minority communities. So again, like you say here, it's about who's writing these laws. And that's where we've got to go to make some differences. So when we talk about the politics and people are worried about voting for presidents and whatever, man, bump all that. Who cares really who's that person? You need to worry about who's your city council, who's your city manager, right? Who's your mayor, who's your state governor, right? That you need to worry about because those things immediately affect you. And again, trust has been broken with them too. So it goes back to the question, after the trust has been broken, can we trust again? What's going on? Stacy, how's it going? So good to see you. You know what I mean? You know who are the most scared people right now in this country? Who do you think it is? People say, well, it's black men because they're the targets. That is true. That is true. But you know who really are the most scared people right about now running around? It's black women because those are their babies. You know what I'm saying? You're raising your kids and when them get to be a certain age and your spouses too and so forth, when they get to be a certain age, they are going to go out there on their own. You don't have the capability to keep them reined in anymore. You know what I mean? You don't have the option of keeping them from school to extracurricular to home. They're grown, they have lives of their own right now, but they're still your babies, right? So once they leave that house, then you start panicking until they pull back up in that driveway. You know, my kid, she grown, she's 21. She can go do her thing, you know what I mean, within reason. There's still boundaries, you know what I mean? But the truth is, and she knows it, I've expressed that to her, I appreciate it when she comes in earlier than later. You know why? Outside of all of the craziness that goes on out in the streets, the fact is I'm not going to sleep until she comes in. So if you decide to not come until 5 o'clock in the morning, guess who's up till 5 o'clock in the morning? Me. Right? That's my child. Right? So I feel for all the mothers, you know, black mothers and just mothers of black and brown people in the community who are, for lack of a better word, endangered right now. Right? Every time your kid drives out into these streets, it's fair. unequivocal fear, right? Fear. Clementine said, it's to protect them, not us. They splice and dice before it goes. You see what I'm talking about? Yeah, I mean, what up, Dashika? How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. So I'm just saying, after this trust has been broken, which it has, can we trust again? Do you still call 911 feeling the same way you did before? When you get pulled over, do you, I mean, it was never getting pulled over, never a big deal, but it was always panicking because for me, I'm going to be honest with you. When I get pulled over, I'm like, dang, how much is this going to cost me? I know I'm not doing anything that's going to get me into any problems, but I'm like, how fast was I going? How much is this ticket going to cost me? My insurance. That's what goes through your mind, right? That used to. Now, when you get pulled over, you start worrying, okay, how do I make sure I make it out of this alive? Roll my windows down. What Dave Chappelle said, lift your seconds, pretty cheeks. You know what I mean? It's extreme, but it is what it is. Right now, you're focused on how you can. And if you are an adult, I'm a grown person, and I got to have those concerns, right? Then what about the younger ones who are not necessarily, I don't even want to say not taught, but sometimes not prepared to deal with that, and their frame of thought is different. What them a gonna do? What are they going to do? Julian says, can we go through life not trusting anyone though? Sometimes we may need to take a chance and trust those who've hurt us before. I feel you. I'm not saying no. After the trust is broken, can we trust again? So I guess based on what you're saying, we gotta. You know what's crazy? Not getting violated or done wrong, right? But getting violated and done wrong by the same person or persons or entity over and over again. So when you decide, okay, I'm going to trust this fool, right? Does it again. And you look around you and you see it happening near and far. And again, the question comes back. Is it a scenario where people are, where they're rebelling right about and saying, you know what, we going to get them? Is that what's going on right now? Let me send some birthday shout outs. Mr. Charlie Wachter, what's going on? What's going on, my man? Happy birthday. Janelle Reynolds, happy birthday. All right. Karen Green, happy birthday. My Virgin Peter Bowman, happy birthday. Anisha Scott celebrating her birthday. Patrick Linda celebrating her birthday. A lot of Vivian Chavez, what going on? Big up yourself, big up yourself, big up yourself, large up yourself, Paul Anthony. All right, so all the people that are celebrating birthdays, and why I got to stop, take a minute for the pause to celebrate these birthdays is because we're living in a time right about now where tomorrow not promised. It was never promised, but even now more than ever. Right? Got COVID out there killing people. So we're celebrating every moment for what it is. All right? COVID out there kill people. Trust me, if you escape COVID, you better not take no chances with the police. Right? And it's sad for me to be verbalizing these things because I don't normally have to think this way. You know what I'm saying? But I got little God kids that are 7, 8, 9, 10, nephews, nieces, growing up, and I'm seeing the world that they're going to grow up in. Tell you something. So I'm reach about 80 years old if Jah reach me that's and something happened to me. And then I resuscitate me and I come in now and tell you, you know, after that, and I'm like, God, no. You understand? But with it. But I have to worry about these kids going on the streets. So that's the reason why we talk about these things. That we celebrate the birthdays, we celebrate anniversaries, we celebrate the good moments. Because you never know when the last one is going to be the last one. You know what I mean? One large up Humberland, happy belated birthday too. You know what I'm saying? Marjorie, it's your aunt's birthday. Big up auntie, oh auntie, happy birthday, auntie. Enjoy. All right? Enjoy. But again, the trust has been broken, damaged, severed, severely damaged, right? Papa, fijapa ground. Can we repair? Can we replace? Can we trust again? The issue is when somebody violates trust. Julian, you're right. We can't go around just forever not trusting people. But when somebody violates trust, the first step to being able to trust that person again is not you healing and trying to trust again. It's about the person being contrite, right? them being contrite, remorseful, expressing that remorse, and making the necessary steps to earn your trust again. But if the person decides I'm gonna depend on that, can we just say, you know what, I'm gonna trust them again? Let's just trust them again, yeah, man, because that's what we do. You're supposed to trust people, right? You trust people who are contrite, who express their remorse and decide that, they can and they will do better. And then you start working on rebuilding and them regaining your trust and you being able to really, really trust them. But if it's a situation where none of that happens, the behavior doesn't change, sometimes the behavior escalates, gets worse, how easy, if at all, do you trust again? And then the question is, should you trust again? Right? When the topic was dropped out there, a lot of folks are thinking about it from the vantage point of relationships. You know what I mean? The AWC for sure was thinking about it as relationships. And this is, in fact, a relationship. The relationship between law enforcement and the community is exactly that. It's a relationship. Right? It's a relationship. Now, the fabric of that relationship has been severed. What's next? Why does it seem like we put the onus on the victims of and the people who are oppressed, the people who've been victimized, to mend the relationship versus the oppressors, the assailants? You know what I mean? Somebody does something ill to you, and a lot of times we don't focus on what they need to do to remedy the situation, to make right of a situation. What we focus on is, what does the victim do to forgive? You know what I'm saying? We always focus on the forgiveness. You need to forgive them because forgiveness is for you, not for them, and all of the other things we are passed on. They're going to tell you, right? But the amount of effort and energy you're putting into telling somebody to forgive somebody, and forgiveness is for them, or whatever the case may be, are we putting in an effort into the guilty party to say, be contrite, accept, own up, remorse, and reform? Because the person standing there looking at you saying, hey, this is what I do, I'm going to do it again, if not to you, to somebody else. But we still sit on our preach of forgiveness. We need to forgive. I mean, in a case like this, what exactly can you do? But when I say not to trust, it don't mean you're going to pick up arms and be up arms against or whatever. You really can't do that. You can't win that battle. You're outgunned, outmanned. And of course, they've got the government behind them. But at the end of the day, you be cautious. Very, 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 very cautious. All right? After the trust has been broken, can we trust again? I don't know. You let me know. If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things, ladies and gentlemen. We got vibes for you, all right? Jah is real.
Yeah, all right.
Fool me once, not you, EK.
He's so real to me. My Jah is real, and I can feel him in this air I breathe. He's always near. Oh, Jah, he everywhere. My Jah is real, and I can feel him in this air I breathe. He's always there. Oh, Jah, he everywhere. So from the righteous path, I really try not to drift. Try not to be misled by illusions and myths from the Babylon dirty system we have to drift. Try to captivate my mind with tricks and gimmicks. Them try to say Jah dead and we know nothing no go so. Them heaven in the sky and we know. Them a tell pure lie. Yes, that's how we go. The innocent are die and the same, so we go. So why in this beautiful earth they fight a war? Is it your position that they are fighting for? Or is it that they want with me a buckle on a shelf? A raps and Kusha play the song, you know, and nothing else. My job is real, and I can feel him in this air I breathe. He's always there.
It's Raps and Kush. It's J Will. It's Jai's real.
My job is real, and I can feel him in this air.
Album's called Love Your Life.
He's always there. Oh, Jah, he's everywhere. Live by the laws of nature, not the laws of man. And in this world I try not to be judgmental, unconditional. Love it is fundamental. The reign of Jah, yes it is perfect.
Large up CP, large up.
No place
So great to see you.
your society. Your empires were built on the blood of slavery. In God them trust, who them that is another story. Try to mix up the words with them funny money. True world to me that really means good health. Like the wax in front the fire, so the wicked will come out. So on your knees, Babylon I say bow down and repent and now. Oh Jah, he's omnipotent. My Jah is real, and I can feel him in this air I breathe. He's always there. Oh Jah, he's everywhere. Not the laws of man, and in this world I try not to be judgmental.
It's called Jai's Real, ladies and gentlemen. J Will and Raps and Kush Band.
The reign of Jah.
We're just talking about the trusting, you know what I mean? Can it be retained? And sometimes we have to hold them people accountable. That's all we have. Accountability, you know what I mean? Doesn't matter who it is. You put them in office, you hire them, you know what I mean? You hold them accountable. Ginger spoke so eloquently about it right here.
Leaders fail. We the people gonna hold the government accountable. Tell the Queen's Council accountable. We the people gonna hold the pharmaceutical companies accountable. Mr. Constable accountable. We the people going hold the world leaders and scientists accountable. Tell the Queen's Council.
Thank you so much, Julianne. I appreciate you. Thanks for rocking out with us this afternoon.
With them rush vaccine, Pfizer vaccine, them no care if it hurt you. What that mean accountable?
I gotta roll. Remember, subscribe to the podcast Homegrown with G Cole. It's available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Radio.com, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast, we're there. And oh, by the way, for those people who listen to your audiobooks on Audible, guess what? The podcast is now available on Audible, all right? So if you have Audible on your iPhone or your Android or whatever, go get the podcast Homegrown with G Cole. It's available on Audible. Go over to YouTube after this. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, all right? Today's what? Tuesday? Tomorrow evening, it's radio. Just follow us at social media at MyGCole, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'll let you know what time we're on, where we're going to be on, but it's going to be a vibe, all right? I thank y'all so much for rocking out with me, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Love on night. It's Ginger.
Yeah. So live, make we live, make we live. Yeah. For the evil you're doing in the name of goodness, we know there are crimes. So live, make we live, make we live. Yeah.
Because what?
We the people must hold the government accountable. Hey yo, this is Ginger the Reggae Soul Man, representing for G Cole. I say G Cole, and you play music and soothe the people's soul. Yeah, man, Ginger said that. We the people gonna hold the government accountable. Tell the Queen's Council accountable. J. Cole gonna hold the government and pharmaceutical companies accountable. Tell the constable, accountable. Yo, this is Ginger the Reggae Soul Man, representing for Mr. J. Cole. Saying, don't touch nothing, we'll be right. Black.
Nakikinika música, Homegrown with G. Cole.
Estás escuchando Homegrown con G. Cole.
您现在正在收听的是 Homegrown with G. Cole.
You're listening to Homegrown with G. Cole.
Yeah, check it out, it's Chris Martin and Dawson to the fullest. It's all about homegrown with the General G. Cole, you understand? Yo, G. Cole, big deal. Homegrown, it's a big deal. Homegrown with G. Cole is very, very important. You tune in for real. Martin and Dawson. Hey.
That's what I got for you. Guess what I got for you? I got another one, courtesy of Tad's Records. Hello Africa, Chezidek. No wicked ass roots reggae album for 2020. All right. Chezidek's brand spanking his latest effort. It's called Hello Africa. I also got Jerusalem by Kokodo. Nice gospel reggae inspiration. All five. What I'm saying, but all right. I might even get you a mug from Homegrown with G. Cole. All right. All these gifts coming to you courtesy of Tad's Records. I'm gonna tell you some great music. Tad's, you've been doing the thing. Hit us up at my G. Cole Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for your chance to win a copy of these. All right. And also go over to YouTube. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. All right. It's Homegrown with G. Cole. We got some more vibes, some more gifts. Again, give thanks to the good people over there at Tad's Records. Brand spanking new joints. Of course, make sure you go check out that new rhythm. You know, them I rhythm. All right. Courtesy of Chezidek and friends, of course. Again, coming to you from Tad's Records. Nothing but dope music on that one. All right. Hit us up.